What if you discovered that the most valuable person in a company is also the one with the least control over their future? Not an intern, not a newcomer, but the star generating more than half of the company's value. Today's story is not about rebellion. It's not about conflict. It's about quiet preparation. And a decision made long before anyone noticed. This is the story of Wang Yibo, and why the most important move of his career may have happened off-camera. Stay with us. From the outside, success often looks like authority. Fame is mistaken for leverage, and popularity is assumed to mean protection. But in reality, value and power do not always grow together. In the case of Wang Yibo, the numbers tell a striking story. He generates a dominant share of revenue for Yuehua Entertainment, yet remains structurally distant from decision-making. No equity, no voting rights, no long-term ownership. This creates a quiet imbalance. The company relies heavily on his output, while his future depends on contracts that can expire, be renegotiated, or quietly redirected. He is essential, yet replaceable in structure, valued, but not secured. This is not a personal failure nor an unusual arrangement. It is a systemic reality within traditional entertainment models, where contribution is rewarded short-term, but control is retained elsewhere. When value rises without corresponding authority, pressure accumulates silently. And sooner or later, the question surfaces. Not in anger, but in clarity. What happens when the person holding the weight is not holding the key? The greatest risk in a successful career is rarely sudden collapse. It is gradual dependency. For many high-profile artists, momentum becomes a trap. As long as projects continue and visibility remains high, structural weaknesses are easy to ignore. But the system quietly trains them to rely on constant performance rather than long-term positioning. This is the silent risk every star faces. When income, reputation, and opportunity flow through a single organizational channel, control slowly shifts away from the individual. Decisions are made upstream, timelines are externally set, and the artist, no matter how successful, remains reactive. What makes this risk particularly dangerous is its invisibility. There is no warning signal, no public conflict, only the gradual realization that stopping, slowing down, or changing direction comes at a high personal cost. For those at the top, this pressure is often disguised as privilege. But privilege without autonomy is fragile. The real danger is not losing popularity. It is discovering too late that one's entire career has been built on permission rather than preparation. What separates foresight from reaction is timing. Long before public discussions emerged, long before questions about contracts or future direction became visible, a different kind of work had already begun. Not loud, not symbolic, but deliberate. Years earlier, Wang Yibo started building parallel structures beyond the spotlight. These were not vanity projects or short-term experiments. They were practical systems, designed to function independently, quietly, and sustainably. This is the most misunderstood part of the story. True preparation rarely announces itself. It does not seek validation. It exists to create options, not headlines. By investing early in autonomy, he reduced the emotional pressure of later decisions. Independence became a possibility rather than a gamble. This approach reflects strategic maturity. Instead of waiting for circumstances to force change, he treated uncertainty as something to plan for, not fear. The most important career moves are often invisible at the time they are made. Their impact is only recognized when others realize there is no urgency, no panic, only choice. Fame is temporary by nature. What matters is what it is turned into. Many careers burn brightly and fade not because talent disappears, but because visibility was never converted into structure. Recognition was enjoyed, but not reinvested. In contrast, this story highlights a different philosophy, using attention as raw material, not as an end point. By treating popularity as a tool rather than a destination, Wang Yibo shifted the center of gravity in his career. He focused on foundations, systems that remain stable regardless of trends, cycles, or public mood. This is not about rejecting success. It is about redefining it. Longevity requires something quieter than applause. It requires planning that values continuity over urgency and stability over spectacle. Turning fame into foundations is an act of patience. It resists the pressure to extract everything immediately, and instead builds something that can endure pauses, transitions, and change. In an industry driven by speed, this approach is rare and powerful. This story resonates because it extends beyond celebrity. At its core, it reflects a question many people never say out loud. If circumstances change, what remains under my control? The emotional weight of this narrative does not come from conflict, but from recognition. Viewers see their own experiences mirrored, contributing deeply, carrying responsibility, yet feeling structurally dependent. It reminds us that being valued is not the same as being secure, and that waiting for recognition to turn into protection is often a mistake. What makes the story quietly moving is its restraint. There is no confrontation, no dramatic rupture, only the steady decision to prepare rather than complain. That choice carries emotional maturity. It speaks to self-respect, patience, and long-term thinking. Ultimately, this is why the story stays with people after the video ends. It does not tell viewers what to feel. It invites them to reflect. And in that reflection, many realize that the most meaningful control over the future begins long before it is urgently needed. If you enjoy calm, insightful stories that explore the real power dynamics behind fame, make sure to subscribe to Star Watch now. Your support helps us continue bringing you thoughtful perspectives beyond the headlines. Thank you for watching. Take care of your future, and we'll see you in the next story.